So being from Alexandria, I'm not privy to, or I don't get to experience the dynamic of working with family and the generational impact that you're able to make whenever a mother and a daughter work together. In this conversation, Mallory and Miss Priscilla talk about how the both of them were able to come into real estate and come into it together and make an impact on the community they grew up in through real estate. So if you're interested to hear how Priscilla Morse and Mallory Goorley have been able to come together and impact real estate as a mother-daughter duo, check out this conversation. Welcome to the show. Today I have the Morse mother-daughter pair, which I'm really excited to talk to you guys. Me and Mallory go way back, beyond the point in time where I want people to know a ton about me because I was a little bit crazy back in the day. And then Miss Priscilla, and we met the first time at Olympia Mardi Gras ball, probably 2009 or 10?
Maybe so. Mallory was in college.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
College. Yeah.
And as I moved back into town after college and law school, the Morse family been in real estate for a long time, right? And I know, Mallory, you weren't in real estate right when you moved back, but now you're back in real estate. And my first question is, how is mother-daughter dynamic of being in real estate? How did y'all decide that you wanted to do that together, and how has it been over the last year or 2 years that you've been in real estate?
Well, I was with the Morse team before when it was Lisby, Candy, Kay, and myself. Mm-hmm. My mother-in-law is the one who got me into real estate. Mallory has been in real estate for 2 years now.
Yeah, roughly 2.
You probably feel like you've been in it for a long time, though.
I do, and sometimes when I'm doing deals, I don't tell people it's only been 2 years.
Right. But we aren't on a team anymore. Yeah. I'm the managing broker.
Well, we never were.
Right, never were a team, but we did have a few listings and clients together. So I've kind of stepped back from the listing and selling side, and she's on another team now.
Taught me everything she knew.
I'm just her boss.
Yeah.
Fully the nest. We got to one closing last year, and she looked over at me and she goes, "What's the other agent's name?" I was like, "We've been negotiating this deal for 6 weeks."
I know. I really.
And I was like, at that point, I was like, "Okay, I think I can do this on my own. I got this."
Yeah.
We did that one here too.
Yeah. Well, I hope Mallory tries to send as much of her work over here as she can.
Yeah.
If you do.
Yeah.
But how's it been? I mean, is it like how does the family dynamic working? Because I mean, I am not doing any type of business any of my other family members do, because we would probably not get along, and I'm sure that's probably a little bit of the dynamic. But is it fun doing real estate with your family?
Mallory and I, it's been a little different. We did have some listings and some sales together and working, and I think we worked good. I have to be more around my office a little bit more. So Mallory was wonderful. Even before she got licensed, she was joining me for, doing listings with me, and she would take the hike down to the river with the snakes and the hills. And I'm like, yeah, I can want to do that. So Mallory, being the young go-getter that she is, would handle all that for me. And then once she got licensed, she would do the inspections and different things. So it was really wonderful. And she's great with the clients, very detailed, and would get all the backgrounds, everything we needed as far as all the information for showings and listings and stuff. So she's done a great job.
Yeah.
It was kind of nice to get like fresh eyes on to come in on some of the transactions and like clients that she had been dealing with, and kind of be like, wait, let's do this. Hold on, let's do this stuff that like you weren't able to really like focus on or think of because she already was in a leadership role.
Yeah.
So that was nice to be able to like come in and, help out and learn really from like the get-go with like, but I don't want to say like having a safety net still, but it was nice to like kind of have that, like I was still independent, but it was nice to be able to like call for any question that arises.
She still does this morning.
Yeah, I still call all the time.
She still calls this morning about appraisals.
Yeah, it's like, but it's in the contingent offer. It's contingent on the appraisal, but it's not in the due. And she was like, hold on, here it is.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, did you check with Herbert? And just asking if did you check with Chip and Herbert on that?
Well, so, and I know it brings a different dynamic too, being that Mallory, you owned your own business before you started doing this, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was a family business too, in a way.
Yeah.
Like the boutique was Suella that you ran for what, 5-6 years?
It was almost 8.
Almost
like
8
years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so nice being able to call you on Valentine's Day,
Mother's Day, Christmas.
I need a gift from my wife, and you.
I'm like, I'll drop it off on my way home.
Yeah. And that was another one Kay Morse had started.
Yeah, that's
so.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, look. I mean, that's a huge deal to like the legacy business, and people get burnt out from real estate, and being able to do it for so long and have it be so fruitful for your entire family. Like every aspect of it, from the aunts and uncles to the kids that are now going to get to benefit from the real estate business. I mean, it's a big deal, and all being so local to. I mean, really, Covington is where it all started. Most people look at the North Shore as this big thing from Slidell, maybe even Tammany Parish, but really, like, y'all's impact was really local to Covington whenever y'all first got started, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was funny. On Mother's Day, I was over there visiting with Gigi Kay, my grandmother, my dad's mom, and I was telling her about these clients I have in Old Mandeville. And I was like, yeah, we're trying to buy, they bought a house and they're renovating it. And I was telling her all about it's a historical home. It's a really cool project. I'm happy to be a part of it. So we're trying to buy the lot next door. And I tell her the name of the person who owns it. And she looked at me and she goes, I know that family. They never sell any property. And the next day, the lady called me and she goes, I'm not going to ever sell this, but as soon as I kick the can, I'm sure my kids will list it. And I was like, Gigi knows. She's still got it. She knows the North Shore.
When did she start? When did she start being an agent?
She started in 1984, I think it was 84, 85.
Wow. I mean, are you from here? You from the
I'm
North?
from New Orleans.
You're from New Orleans.
I was actually born in Gulfport and then raised in New Orleans.
Nice.
And then
But I mean, it's funny because I've been here since 2016. And I've done my first office was up downtown Covington on Bazoo, second floor.
Yes. And
there was several people who would come in that had been in Covington and the North Shore for their whole lives, and would talk about how it was dirt roads around there, and how like there was it used to be the building we were in was a men's clothing store. And but it wasn't that long ago that Covington was more of a rural town without as much development, right? I mean, your mother-in-law.
So my mother-in-law, she had her Sweet 16 party at the Southern Hotel years ago. And her family had moved there, and they had developed Riverbend Lane, where we had bought the house from her, and we lived there, and it had been a dirt road there as well. And they had dug the canals to join into the Bogafilio River. Wow. So, yeah.
What do you think about all the development that's happened now? I mean, it is literally exploding around here.
It's exploding, and I just wish they could have done something about the traffic soon.
Yeah.
Because that's also the biggest thing when people come over.
It's just like wild. It's like 190 and 21 don't connect. Yeah. So we have this like weird shape of traffic. Businesses and neighborhoods that like it takes a long time to get all the way around. Yeah. Yeah, you have to commit to where you want to live.
For sure, 100%. And that's a big deal. I mean, my uncle came in town, and he launched in Mandeville at the Yacht Club in Mandeville. He was taking his boat to Florida. He's got a nice big boat that him and his family like to go travel the Gulf of Mexico in. And he drove
the Gulf of America.
Gulf of America. Sorry, this is 2025.
Well, there's just been no hurricane activity, so we're hoping for lower insurance rates.
Yeah, that would be nice. Well, you think the Gulf of America is going to make a difference on the hurricane?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's no reported hurricane history ever of the Gulf of America.
Look at that. See, maybe there might be a value brought from doing that. But he was commenting about how long it took to get from the Mandeville lakefront all the way to my office in Covington, where he dropped off his boat trailer. I mean, it really is. Yeah. If you think about it, it's not that far as a crow flies, but the way that you got to get around town, it's complicated, and I think that's attributed to a lot of the people who want to be here now, and the infrastructure that we've got to keep adding. And for me, it's exciting because, I mean, obviously it gives more opportunity for me and for you guys.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a double-edged sword, though. I mean, I remember growing up here in high school, like Highway 21 was just trees. You could get, we lived in downtown Covington, and to drive to Defunctus for swim practice, you didn't even hit a red light, maybe one. Mm-hmm. It took like 5 minutes.
And it was just a 2-lane road.
Yeah, it was just 1 lane back and forth. And so now the fact that like at 2:30, 3 o'clock, it can take 35 minutes to get from Defuncta to downtown Covington is like mind blowing. It exploded really after Katrina.
Yeah, so my husband and I have been married quite a long time. He was born and raised here, and we lived in Mandeville for a while when we first got married. We lived in Oklahoma, Mandeville, and then back up to Covington. And like Mallory was saying, it was no traffic whatsoever. I used to drive to New Orleans to West Wego for my job and commute. And it was probably quicker to drive that way and do that rather than I just commute from Covington to Mandeville.
Yeah.
No. And the mornings aren't so bad because I leave and get to my office early. It's the afternoons. Oh, yeah. It's the afternoons that I hate.
In the summertime will spoil us.
It'll get better with the summer. And maybe they'll have all the bypass, everything completed.
Yeah. But, so how beneficial is it for somebody to represent a buyer or seller moving into town to have known the history and how this town has developed over time.
It's
right?
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, as an example, I have buyer clients who came in town. They don't really know the area that well. Their kids have been living here for about a year, so they haven't really, they've been in and out on the weekends and stuff. But I always like to get them in my car, and so I can like explain all the areas and like, hey, the traffic's not bad here right now, but like, hey, this is the grocery store you'll go to, or like this is the park that you'll bring your grandchildren to.
Yeah.
Like it just adds like that layer of like comfortability that like you're not just getting plopped into a city where you're going to think, oh, 5 years from now, I wish we would have bought over here or over here. And I really like to get them and like show them the entire area.
Yeah.
And show them like, hey, if you want to be a little bit further out, this is how we can go north. Hey, the river even.
And restaurants and
the river. Like we were
accessibility.
We were at inspections, and one of them was like, so wait, is it Brady Island? Is this like where everybody hangs out? And he's like, well, where do you go tubing? And I was like, well, kind of like south of the interstate from here to, and like,
nice.
I can like, it's that part to me is really cool. I mean, it just gives you, knowledge is power, and it just gives you like so much more,
Yeah.
I'm
going to take you on the river next to my parents are in town because they have a house here, and we have a camp on Cane River in Natchitoches, and my dad's hesitant to bring the boat down here because it's like Cane River is like the opposite of Tchefuncte. Like nobody's ever on the river. Mm-hmm. You come down here and you got to know where to be on the river in order to avoid some of the boat traffic because it can get busy some days. But I do know there's places that people go wakeboarding and tubing, and it's quieter.
But you also have to know where some of the stumps are and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we know it all.
That kind of That
Campbell does too. Mallory's oldest child.
Yeah, my oldest just goes.
Well, and I think it's important too because whenever I tell business owners and real estate agents how to target their ideal client, I tell them all the time: post on social media about you and who you are. Hopefully, the people who don't want to follow your stuff or don't relate to you will stop following you, and you'll be able to really relate to the ones that are following you. And so, I think it's important for people to know what type of a mother you are, because I know you have 4 boys, and I grew up with 4 boys with my mom, and how much of a dynamic that was. But managing a household and how tough of a lady you have to be in order to manage 4 boys, again, I know firsthand because I gave my mom the most hell that you can give. But what is it like raising 4 boys?
It's wonderful, but it's exhausting. It's like 100% wonderful and 100% equally exhausting. And like, I guess that's the only way to describe it. Like if there's always somebody having a meltdown. There's always somebody that needs something. There's always a huge mess. Like everybody's always hungry. There's lots of food, but it's wonderful. Real estate's been really great. So kind of segueing from like retail, which was kind of like on for like certain hours. I couldn't really be like focused on the kids and their after school activities and stuff as much. Real estate's kind of given me that accessibility to be like, hey, I'm not answering my phone right now because I'm coaching T-ball. Mm-hmm. This is like priorities that you're able to like really kind of how you said, like your clients get to know who you are and like what means the most to you. Whereas like retail, it was kind of like whoever walks in the door.
Yeah.
Now with like real estate, it's like, if this is a good match, it's a great match and we get along great. And they know my schedule, and they know that they're, pulling me away from my kids, or that one might be coming along with me on a showing and stuff. And it's like everybody enjoys that. It's like the best part about it.
I think that's great that you made the point to say that one of your boys comes with you on the showings, because there's a friend of mine who in Baton Rouge was a real estate agent when I was in college. And at the time she had 2 boys that were probably like 7 or 8 years old. And she was one of the top producing agents in Baton Rouge. And you probably know her, Julie Jenkins. She had every house in Lake Beaupre that either she leased it or she owned it. And she's still a family friend of ours today. She would tell all of her clients, like, if you want to do business with me, you're going to have to deal with my kids. If you don't want kids to be there, then you can go find another real estate agent. But I'm the best agent that you're going to hire. But if you can't deal with my kids, then you can go find somebody else.
That's funny because that's how our office is. Mallory knows that we always have dogs and children running around our office. So some of them may be popping up underneath a desk, or dogs are always around. And so it's they're very welcome, and it's very relaxing. But it's also because it's a family.
We spend a lot of time together, and I think and you know, if you were maybe in New Orleans, it might feel a little different because it's such a corporate business oriented town.
Yeah.
But the North Shore is not that. Like there are
It's all
young
family.
families and people, and like that's the type of value that we have as a community, in my opinion. And so it's important for people to know, like, this is what you're going to get if you want me. Like I tell people all the time, if you want the lawyer with the suit, don't come in arena. And you should know that you're not going to get the lawyer in the suit by going and watching us on social media or seeing our website. But there are other law firms and title companies that operate that way. And so we try to put it out there. And I think that I'm glad that we got to talk about your kids, because I love hanging out with your family and your kids. They have really sweet boys. So I commend you for that. My mom, trust me, has a special place in heaven for dealing with 4 boys.
I've called Jared on occasion. Elliot and I are like, help. How did your mom survive this?
Your
We're just
father
getting
helps
into
out a lot.
the preteen ages. Yeah, it's a family affair.
It is. It definitely is. And look, one of the biggest people that impacted me was my grandmother growing up, because while my mom and dad were always trying to discipline me, my grandmother always saw the other side and was always telling me that I could accomplish anything, that I'm the lead horse, and that, you know, you need to make sure you're doing the right thing, and always help me keep my boundaries, my moral boundaries in place, while always telling me that I could do anything. I, to this day, will, you know, attribute not only to my mom for beating me into doing the right thing most of the time, but my grandmother always kept me moving in the right direction too. So very cool.